Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Mercedes-Benz GLB 250. Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Mercedes-Benz of Farmington, Utah for giving me some time with this GLB. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions, need any help, just ask for John Moore. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 22 around town, and then 30 on the highway, with power outputs being 221 horsepower and then 258 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Starting with the hood, you guys can see distinctive lines there on either side, and then of course you got the Mercedes-Benz logo, the mini one, in the center. Really cool daytime running lights here with the GLB that are wrapped around the headlights. And then notice with the grille here, it's kind of interesting with the overall look, but it somewhat reminds me of the G-Wagon grille, just a little bit. Parking sensors down below, and then you guys can see how it's like blacked out there at the bottom. And putting it all together, I think in blue, this thing looks sweet. Come around the side here, tire wheel setup is 235, 50, 19 in the front, and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see here with the wheel design, you've got the Mercedes star shape right there in the center with the silver on the top. It's pretty cool. And you actually have a little AMG logo there off to the side. Pretty chunky fender flares here, and then notice the bodywork there at the bottom. Then you got the blacked out trim as well. Blacked out mirror caps, and then you guys can see the chrome there on the door handles. And then here's our full side profile, and you guys can see just how boxy the GLB is. So here's our key fob. You guys can see we've got our unlock function or lock function, and the opening for Le hatch. And then popping inside, the GLB actually has quite a bit of cargo space, and I feel like this oversized box definitely shows that, but lots of vertical space because, again, boxy design. And then when you're all done, just press that button right there and that will close everything up. Pretty sharp looking taillights here on the back end, and you guys can see all of our badges here on the back. Pretty normal setup. And then we got parking sensors down below, and then look at the exhaust tip covers and the diffuser. Pretty sweet setup. And putting it all together, the spec on this GLB 250 I think is pretty sweet with the blue and then some of the, AMG bits that have been thrown onto it. Now the interior in this pops quite a bit. You've got like the black leather here at the top and the white leather down below. And then you got the silver on the door handles, and I think it looks pretty cool. And then with the seats again, you got that white stitching, and then notice here with the center how you've got the white leather. Legroom here in the back is actually really solid. We've got a little storage pocket right here. We've got some vents here in the rear as well. And then headroom back here is also great. And if you're wondering, I was looking around because I noticed that we have a sunroof here in the back. With the front door panel, you guys can see again with the leather trim, and then notice it's white down below. We've got the silver trim right here. All of our window controls with the mirror adjustments. The mirrors do power fold in. We've got our memory seat function right there with our power adjustments, and then our heated seat function. And that trim looks very nice. And then blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then again with the black leather here, and then look at the white all down the center portion. And then you guys can see here with our lumbar adjustment on the side. And then we got our AMG style pedals. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, really nice leather trim all around. And then you guys can see the darker stitching there on the center to kind of match everything. Paddle shifters here on the back for that 8-speed dual clutch. This little black box controls the infotainment screen, and then you've got your volume and phone controls here. We've got this black box to control the center gauge cluster, and then we've got our cruise control on that side. And then of course we got our turn signal windshield wiper stalk, and then our column shifter. Now we've got this full digital gauge cluster here in the center. First off, we can scroll through some menus here in the center, and then with each individual gauge, you can actually change what the gauge shows, so like super customizable. And then on top of that, it also kind of doubles as a secondary infotainment screen. So you've got these menus you can scroll through, and then you can also change like how the gauge cluster looks. Now in reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. It's a 360 camera system, so we've got a bunch of different viewpoints all around the GLB. As for the rest of the infotainment screen, first off, got a little keypad to control it. You can use the touchscreen functionality, which also is great, or you can use the little black box. So like, pick your method of using the infotainment screen, but either way, it's super responsive and I like it. We've got nice ambient lighting, as you can see, and yeah, I think the trim and the fit and finish just looks fantastic. I love the brushed finish on that, for example. Vents here in the center, and then you got your climate controls down below it. So I got some more storage up front here, and then you guys can see some cup holder action. And then we've got a bunch of analog controls here on either side to control stuff for the infotainment system, and then your keypad, volume control, drive mode select, and then your wrist rest. And speaking of drive modes, let's pop into them. So you got your individual, sport, comfort, eco. Camera's freaking out, sorry about that, guys. Off-road as well, because again, it's a GLB. Center console here, which, yeah, it's pretty solid storage space. And then you guys can see the stitching on top. And then we've got the glove box, which also has quite a bit of storage. And then up top here, you got our control for the sunroof. And again, we got like the double sunroof situation. Now here's our window sticker for the GLB. You guys can see base MSRP here is $41,800. After all options on this particular one, stickers for $53,585. Let's see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood. Both the mirrors just do a blind spot monitoring throughout the rest of the rear. And column shifter away. I love that Mercedes-Benz uses column shifters in all their vehicles. It's something that, like, you know, it takes a second to get used to if you're like used to like a shifter here in the center. But once you do get used to it, it's so nice, and it saves space in the interior as well. I mean, you've got like a bunch more that you can put here in the center console because of the column shifter. But good torque out of the powertrain, and just like other Mercedes-Benz models, they've done a really good job with the suspension damping. Feels very comfortable going over bumps and everything. Yeah, really good torque. It's just like snappy. That is for sure. Seat comfort's pretty good. These aren't the most comfortable Mercedes seats on the planet, but they're pretty good for more of a quote-unquote baseline car, right? It is a B class ultimately, right? But let's get on a little bit more. There's a little bit of turbo lag. It's kind of expected with a 2-liter 4-cylinder. Using this as our little turnaround. We're gonna pop it into the, no, not that one, sport mode. We're not doing the off-road mode. We're definitely not doing that. Even though technically this can off-road, I don't think the Mercedes-Benz of Farmington would appreciate it if I came back from a Moab trip during my test drive portion of the car review. But anyways, let's see how this thing accelerates. Woo! It's quick. This thing about Mercedes is like, it doesn't matter what car it is, they're all quick. And I mean, this thing, it does have a little bit of lag, but once you get into those turbos, it hauls, and it feels way more than the power figures suggest. Again, when you think like 221 horsepower, you're like, it's probably not gonna be quick. It feels a lot quicker than that. I feel like Mercedes underrates their cars, just like BMW does the same thing. It seems like, I'm not sure why they do that. I don't know why they wouldn't just like tell us the real power figures. But anyways, I think this thing looks cool. It's a little boxy Mercedes. It drives really well, and you know, for the price point, I mean, it's a nice little luxury SUV. And so, yeah, if that's what you're looking for, I think this thing's great. And again, it's a Mercedes that definitely won't break the bank. But let me know what you guys think about it.